A basin so hot that the air itself becomes the hazard. A lake so full of chemicals that it turns whatever dies there into stone. An island where the most dangerous animal is not in the water, but walking the beach beside you. A desert so dry that nothing rots, it just dries out completely. And a lake where the sky fires more lightning than anywhere else on Earth, every single night. 5 places, 5 different kinds of dangerous, all of them real. In the Mojave Desert on the California-Nevada border, a valley floor sits 86 meters below sea level. Badwater Basin, a flat expanse of salt and cracked clay, holds the record for the highest reliably measured air temperature in the world, 54.4 degrees Celsius, recorded in 2020. The basin works like a heat trap. Steep mountain ranges on both sides block airflow, forcing hot air to circulate and press down at the floor. The surrounding rock absorbs heat through the day and releases it back through the night. Even after dark, the ground radiates enough stored heat that temperatures rarely drop below 38 degrees Celsius. There's almost no humidity, there's almost no shade, and there's almost no room for error. The air is so dry that sweat evaporates faster than the body registers it, which means you are losing water fast without feeling it. The National Park Service records heat deaths every summer. Many of them are people who stepped out of an air-conditioned car for what they thought would be a short walk. The valley is open to visitors. Over 1 million people come each year, most of them in winter when temperatures are manageable. But in summer, the combination of extreme heat, no shade, and invisible dehydration makes it one of the most reliably dangerous places in the world. One odd fact about Death Valley: a small population of desert bighorn sheep lives permanently in the valley's rocky upper slopes. They survive for months without direct water by extracting moisture from sparse desert vegetation. From the driest heat on Earth, we cross to a lake that kills not through heat alone, but through chemistry. In northern Tanzania, in the East African Rift Valley, lies a shallow lake that from above looks deep red and pink. That color comes from bacteria and microorganisms that thrive in water. Almost nothing else can survive. This is Lake Natron. The water is extremely alkaline, close to the level of household bleach. It is fed by hot springs and by runoff from Old Doño Lengai, an active volcano immediately to the south that is one of the only volcanoes in the world that erupts a dark, carbon-rich lava, rather than the typical red kind. In the shallow parts, water temperatures can reach 60 degrees Celsius. The chemistry results from the East African Rift releasing minerals and volcanic gases that have concentrated here over millions of years. Animals that enter face chemical burns to their skin and eyes. The lake's surface is so flat and reflective that birds flying low sometimes mistake it for open sky. They hit the water at speed, sink into the shallows, and are slowly coated in mineral deposits. Their bodies are found along the edges, turned to stone. And yet this is one of the most important bird breeding sites on Earth. Up to 2.5 million lesser flamingos nest here every year, the vast majority of all lesser flamingos alive. The same chemistry that kills most animals keeps predators away. The flamingos have evolved thick, leathery skin on their legs that resist the alkaline water. Chicks that stray too close to the deeper, hotter water do not survive. But on the broad salt flats at the margins, the colony is safer here than it would be anywhere else on the planet. From a lake that turns its dead to stone, we cross to an island where the danger walks beside you. Off the southeastern coast of Queensland, Australia, lies Kagari, formerly known as Fraser Island. It is the largest sand island in the world, 123 kilometers long, covered in sand dunes, ancient subtropical rainforest, freshwater lakes, and long open beaches. From the air, it looks extraordinary. It is a World Heritage Site, and it is also genuinely dangerous in several different ways at once. The ocean along the entire eastern beach runs for 75 kilometers with no lifeguards anywhere. The rip currents here are among the strongest on the Australian coastline. They pull you out fast. The water also carries Irukandji jellyfish, one of the smallest and most venomous jellyfish in the world, about 2 millimeters across and almost invisible in the water. Its sting can cause severe pain, extreme anxiety, dangerously high blood pressure, and in some cases, death. Bull sharks live permanently in the channels between the island and the mainland. On land, the main danger is the dingo. Kagari has one of the most genetically pure dingo populations in existence. Between 150 and 200 animals that have been isolated from the mainland long enough to keep behaviors most other dingoes have lost. They are wild apex predators. In 2001, a 9-year-old boy was killed by dingoes on the island. Visitors are told not to approach them, not to feed them, and not to walk alone at night. From an island of sand and predators, we cross to a desert, where the air itself holds almost no water at all. Between the Andes and the Chilean coast lies the Atacama Desert, the driest non-polar desert on Earth. Its core covers roughly 105,000 square kilometers, at an average altitude of 2,400 meters above sea level. Some weather stations inside the driest parts have never recorded measurable rainfall, not once across their entire history. The cold ocean current offshore blocks moisture coming from the Pacific. The Andes block moisture coming from the east. The desert is locked in from both sides. The soil in the core is completely sterile. Nothing lives in it. Nothing breaks down in it. Organic material left here does not rot. It simply dries out completely. Atacama mummies, human remains preserved purely by the dry air, without any deliberate preparation, have been found intact after thousands of years. NASA uses the Atacama as a training ground for Mars missions because the soil and the landscape are close enough to Mars that rover tests run here before going to the actual planet. In rare years when rain does fall on the outer fringes, millions of flower seeds that have been lying dormant in the soil suddenly bloom within days, turning the desert pink and purple for a few weeks before it goes dry again. Then nothing, sometimes for years. At the edges of the driest zone, a small rodent called the mountain vizcacha moves across the rocky cliffs. It looks like a rabbit crossed with a squirrel, living at altitudes and temperatures that would kill most animals. From a landscape of absolute dryness, we end at a lake where the sky is never quiet. In northwestern Venezuela, a large brackish lake connects to the Caribbean Sea through a narrow northern strait. Lake Maracaibo covers 13,210 square kilometers, roughly the size of Connecticut, and is one of the oldest lakes on Earth, estimated to be between 20 and 36 million years old. For most of its surface, it is a working body of water. Oil platforms line its shores and extend out across the lake. But at the southern end, where the Catatumbo River flows in from the forested interior, something happens in the atmosphere that happens nowhere else on Earth. At the same frequency or intensity, the Catatumbo lightning is not a seasonal event or a periodic storm. It is a near continuous atmospheric engine that runs for roughly 260 nights per year. Warm, moist air from the Caribbean moves inland and is channeled by the surrounding terrain into the southern lake basin, where it meets cooler mountain air coming down from the Andes. The collision generates massive thunderstorm cells that form over the same location, at the same altitude, almost every night. The result is a storm system that produces approximately 250 lightning strikes per square kilometer annually, the highest concentration of electrical activity recorded anywhere on the planet. During peak months, the Catatumbo produces up to 28 lightning bolts per minute. Scientists believe it is one of the largest single generators of ozone in the lower atmosphere on Earth. These are not distant flashes on the horizon. They strike the lake and the surrounding terrain in direct, vertical bolts, lighting up the entire sky and reflecting off the water below. The storm is visible from 400 kilometers away. It was mentioned in a Spanish poem in 1597, written to describe how English Admiral Francis Drake's fleet was spotted approaching the coast at night. The lightning gave them away. For centuries after that, sailors used it as a navigation beacon. Navigating this lake at night during peak season means crossing a permanent electrical storm with no warning between strikes.